Have you ever stood in the doorway of your child's life and realized they were trying to keep you on the outside? Like you were some embarrassing secret they hoped no one would discover? My name is Thomas Reed, and this is the story of the day my son refused to introduce me to his friends and the reaction I gave him that left him absolutely stunned. It all began on a Saturday afternoon, the kind where sunlight spills across the house and everything feels slow and peaceful, at least until the truth hits you in the face. My son, Caleb, is 24, confident, sharp, and one of those people who talks like life is a movie and he's the lead. I've always been proud of him, maybe too proud at times. After his mother passed away when he was 16, it was just me and him against the world. I worked 2 jobs, sold my truck, cut back on everything just to make sure he could stay in school, keep playing basketball, and get the life he deserved. I never complained. Never asked for anything in return. I just wanted him to grow up happy and safe. So when he started a job at a tech startup and made new friends, I was genuinely happy for him. He'd invite them over occasionally, invite them over in the sense that they would come pick him up, but they never came inside to say hi. Every time I'd come to the door, ready to greet them, he'd step outside, close it behind him, and rush off, almost like he didn't want them to see me. At first, I brushed it off. Kids grow up, they build new worlds. But then came the day that confirmed everything. Caleb was hosting a barbecue in our backyard, his backyard now, since he insisted on helping with the mortgage and calling it our place. I had spent the entire morning marinating ribs, cleaning the grill, setting everything up. I even bought one of those ridiculous chef aprons that say Grill Master, not because I thought I looked cool, but because I wanted to make him proud. When his friends started arriving, I stood at the patio door, ready with a smile. They were loud, energetic, clearly excited to hang out. But Caleb did something that hit me harder than any insult could. He walked right past me, guiding his friends to the backyard like I didn't even exist. I opened the screen door and said, "Hey, Caleb, aren't you going to introduce me?" He froze for a second, but not because he forgot. No, he hesitated because he didn't want to. Guys, this is, my dad," he muttered quickly, barely glancing in my direction. No name, no warmth. No pride, just like someone forced him to acknowledge the mailman. I felt my stomach sink, but I stayed quiet. His friends gave me a polite nod and went back to talking, and Caleb walked ahead as if nothing happened. I kept grilling, pretending it didn't stab me in the chest every time he avoided eye contact. Later, when I brought out a tray of food, I heard something that made the truth crystal clear. One of his friends asked, laughing, "Dude, why didn't you tell us your dad was here? You never mentioned him." Caleb replied, voice low but not low enough. "Yeah, I don't know. It's complicated." Complicated? I stood there holding a tray of ribs like an unpaid waiter while my own son danced around acknowledging me. Something inside me broke. I didn't make a scene. Didn't raise my voice. Didn't embarrass him. Instead, I did something he never expected. I set the tray down, wiped my hands, went to my room, and wrote a note, a simple, calm letter. Then I grabbed my keys and walked out the front door. The letter said, "Caleb, I love you more than you know, but I refuse to stay somewhere I'm treated like a shadow. I'll be gone for a few days. Take care." I booked a motel 2 towns over, not because I had nowhere to go, but because I needed distance. I needed him to feel my absence. I turned my phone off for the night and sat in that cheap motel room thinking about every sacrifice I made for him. Every game I drove him to, every night I stayed up helping him with homework, every birthday I worked overtime to afford. And now I was an embarrassment. Someone he hid. Someone he didn't claim. It wasn't the thought of being unwanted that hurt, it was the realization that he didn't even understand what he was throwing away. Around midnight, when I turned my phone back on, it exploded with messages. "Dad, where are you? Dad, what's going on? Please answer. Are you okay? Please come home." But I didn't reply. Not yet. The next morning, the messages turned frantic. His voice notes were full of panic. "Dad, please. I messed up. Please come home. I'm sorry." Still, I waited. You see, sometimes silence teaches louder than any lecture. It wasn't until noon that I finally drove back. When I walked into the house, Caleb was sitting at the dining table, eyes red, hands shaking. The moment he saw me, he jumped up like a child who thought he lost his parent forever. "Dad," he whispered, voice cracking, "I'm so sorry." I said nothing. I let him speak. "You're not complicated. You're not someone to hide." I don't even know why I did that. I was scared they'd judge me for how simple our life is, for how hard you worked, for everything we went through. His voice broke again. "But when I woke up and you were gone, I realized I would trade every friend I have just to keep you in my life." Then he said the words he should have said years ago. "I'm proud of you, Dad." He told me how his friends actually loved talking to me, how they said I seemed humble, genuine, and cooler than most dads. The embarrassment wasn't about me, it was about his own insecurities. He felt his friends came from wealthy families, parents with flashy careers, and he didn't want them comparing him to a man who wore worn-out jeans and worked long hours fixing appliances. But then something interesting happened during the party after I left. His friends actually asked about me. They said he should appreciate a dad who cooks, who's present, who actually cares. One even said, "Dude, do you know how lucky you are? My dad hasn't been to one of my birthdays since I was 8. Those words shattered something inside him. Caleb realized he had been so worried about appearances that he forgot the core truth: love doesn't need polishing. It just needs gratitude. When he finished apologizing, he said something that nearly brought me to tears. "Dad, can we start over? And please, next time my friends come over, I want you outside with us. Not in the background." I nodded slowly and said, "Son, respect is not something you hide when people are watching. If you want me in your life, then you should be proud of me the same way I'm proud of you." He hugged me, really hugged me longer than he had in years. 3 days later, he hosted another cookout. This time he introduced me, properly, with a smile, with warmth, and with pride in his voice. "Guys, this is my dad Thomas, the strongest man I know." And the look of shock on his friends' faces when he praised me? That wasn't the shocking part. The real shock was the look on his face. When he realized loving your parent openly doesn't diminish you, it elevates you. Sometimes children forget who carried them through storms. Sometimes they forget the hands that built their foundation. And sometimes, all it takes is a quiet exit to remind them of the love they once took for granted. Caleb hasn't hidden me since that day, and he never will again.